And we're going to learn how to strike a ragdoll with an animated rigid body. We're going to take the provided file 07_dummy_start.fbx and we're going to take this crash dummy character in here and knock it down with this sphere object. We're going to do this by making the crash dummy character get driven by a ragdoll. So in order to do that, we need to make sure the character has a control rig, which right now it doesn't have. The character does have a character node applied to it, so it is indeed characterized, but the control rig has not been created yet. So let's do that. Let's create it. There's a little thing you want to keep in mind whenever you create the controlled rigs. So when you click on the create button, it'll ask you what type of rig do you want. Do you want FK/IK or IK only? If you want to work with the ragdoll system, you want to make sure that your control rig is FK/IK and not IK only. So click on FK/IK to create the proper rig that we'll need for this particular setup. So once you have your control rig in place and it's FK/IK, you can press Ctrl A a couple of times to take a look at it in X-ray mode. And now if you want to make it a ragdoll, simply go to the physical properties, grab the ragdoll asset and drop it onto the control rig. I'll drop it onto the hips effector. Now that's in place, all we have to do is create the approximation for the ragdoll. So click on the create button and there we go. If you did use IK only, you would not see this particular approximation get made and nothing would happen at that point and your ragdoll would not be set up correctly. In this manner, by making sure we create the right type of control rig and once it's active, we'll be more successful in implementing the ragdoll. Okay, now at this point we can start the ragdoll simulation, but something that's kind of nice to do, or a little feature that we can take advantage of, is the editing of the approximation objects. It's kind of neat. But these little rigid body objects can be conformed better to the character that you're dealing with if you want a slightly more accurate result, or if you want to tweak it to get something a little bit more customized. So for example, we can grab these individual parts and use something like the scale tool to alter them. So you can grab the scale tool and pull these out a little bit to make them a bit bigger. Kind of like that. You can also scale in particular axes like so. Something like this would be more suited for our character's waist area, which is a little bit more thinner than the rest of the than the original approximation. There we go. So you can tweak it like so. You can even take the head, and if you want, you can actually access the move tool and actually move it around. So you can move this, maybe pull it forward a bit, access the scale tool, and make it bigger. So this way you can build approximations that are a little bit more conformed to your own specific character in here. Another useful feature, by the way, is the ability to tweak the limbs here, or the symmetrical parts. So for example, once you tweak them, you can take advantage of the mirror feature if you want to reflect the exact changes onto the other side. So for instance, we can take the hand part here and scale it up. And if you want to mirror that particular part over, simply click on mirror part and it'll update the left side automatically. You can also make all the individual changes to the limbs here. And once you're satisfied, you can click on mirror side and it'll update all the parts on that particular side of the limb. So you have a few features like that. Now once you're done and you have your approximations built just how you want, you can actually go ahead and take these and save it externally and load them for later use in another file. Keep in mind, if you want to keep these, you need to click on the default button here to save it like so. So now you can click update if you want to take it back to what it was, and now you have your approximations baked in like that. Once you have them set up just how you want them, you can now go to your solvers menu and drop a physics solver in, and you can turn it online and basically activate it, and now we have approximations in action that are more custom suited towards the character that we've built. Just like so. So now we have that particular part made here. Let's go ahead and turn live off, reset to start, and turn off online. We need to make sure we set up the rigid bodies here, so let's go over to the physical properties, drag a rigid body node onto the sphere. And now we'll have a rigid body attached to the sphere in question. Once we have that in there, we can basically use it or convert it into a passive object so we can take advantage of the animation that exists on the object. I put 3 keys in here originally, so now we have that motion and we can use it to strike the ragdoll. So with that, let's go back to our physics solver, turn it online, and then click the play button here. Actually, I need to make sure I have live turned on, so I'll hit live, and now you can knock the object over. I'll reset to start, and there we go. Let me press Ctrl A a couple of times, and I can reset it. Of course, once I'm in playback mode, I can reset it to keep striking this character over in a variety of ways. So there we go. So in this manner, you can take your ragdolls and strike them with rigid body objects. Your ragdolls can interact with rigid body objects just like rigid bodies can interact with one another, and you can use that to get a whole variety of results. And once you're satisfied with a particular result, let me just start the playback again and reset. Once you're satisfied with a particular result, you can always go back in and record it like so. So if you want to record, just go ahead and turn this off, stop, reset to start. Make sure recording mode is turned on, click the record button, overwrite the current take, hit play to save it, and there we go. Stop, rewind, and now we can turn the solver off, and here's the animation on our character. And all of it is just keyframes that can be manipulated to get slightly better or more customized results. And this is how we can take rigid bodies and use them to strike ragdolls.